local control. So clearly my answer would be no, I do not support that. These are decisions made by the Corporation Commission that understands the uniqueness of Arizona and done with local decision makers in the room, not by federal mandate.
Thank you. We heard some questions or some negative comments earlier about trash burning. I appreciate hearing the other side of the case. Is there a case to be made for burning trash as a source of alternative energy?
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that, actually. And I wrote a few notes down, so I can jog my memory. First of all, staff, our professional staff with hundreds of years of combined experience with the Commission said that, in fact, the biogenic portion of this so-called trash could be counted towards the renewable energy standard, first of all. Secondly, this facility will still have to get air quality permits from the county and ADEQ, which they may not get. Thirdly, this is very similar to biomass, which is used throughout Europe and throughout the United States. Secondly, the non-biogenic portions of what is being burned is in fact not renewable and is not considered renewable. So the utilities will get credits for what is renewable and they won't for what isn't. So we again have a disagreement about this.
Well, we're going to let everyone answer this, but how about if you pass it down to Sandra next, and then we'll come back to Marcia.
Well, you've heard my answer, you've heard my comments on the trash burning incinerator. No way, the buck should really stop at the Commission, whether we approve it or not. And I guess some think today that maybe we should make trash burning incinerators a renewable energy source. I tend to disagree. And we have problems here in Maricopa County already with our air. We don't need to add to it. Thank you.
I think you might want to. Well, go ahead, Paul. You have the microphone.
How much time?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, precisely 1 minute. Sorry. What we're talking about is a value decision here. It's waste burning in West Phoenix that was okayed by the majority of the Commission. Sandra and I voted no. It's the ethics that's crazy about it. It's the Mojave Cooperative in Kingman area wants to burn garbage in Phoenix, dirty up the air so they get renewable energy credit instead of doing solar and wind projects in their neighborhoods and putting solar on the Walmarts in Mojave County. It should be on, Arizona Republic should be writing about it. It's the worst decision I've seen in around 3.5 years. I hope it may be appealed. We're able to talk about it today for the first time. But I feel very strongly that it was a bad decision.
Thank you. Marcia?
After the decision was recently came down in June by the Commission, I happened to be in the company of a number of the officers of Republic Industries, one of the largest trash facilities or companies in the world. And they had followed this decision throughout the Corporation Commission hearings. And all they could do was shake their head when I asked them about it. They could not believe that the Commission approved it. They just said if they had to go forward and do something like that, that the standards would be so much higher. And in fact, they've never been able to get anything accomplished like what the Commission approved in this case.
Bob Burns?
Well, I guess the first thing that happens is when you call it waste burning. I don't know, you could probably put that on a number of different fuels if you wanted to. I think we need to take advantage of the fuels that are out there. Now, obviously, there needs to be the requirements in place so that there is no pollution produced by this particular type of fuel. And if that can be reached and accomplished, then why would we not go ahead and use it? If it can't be, if the qualifications can't be met, then we don't use it. I mean, I think it's a matter of taking advantage of what's out there and using it properly. Susan?
You're getting a sense of the debate. that happens at the commission, and kind of a repeat of the case that just was decided by the incumbents at the table. Let me just say to you that Commissioner Stump, I think, did a very good job of describing to you component of this that is defined renewable, is counted towards a renewable factor. There is an air quality standard that has to be met. Most importantly, though, this was an obligation that was being met by Mojave Electric Co-op, which serves rural Arizona. This was an attempt for a rural electric provider to make sure that in rural Arizona, rates can still be affordable and energy can be accessible. And that's part of the Commission's judgment call, to make sure that all parts of the state, not just Phoenix Metro, have accessibility to energy that doesn't have brownouts and you can afford to pay for.
This may be the last question. Bill?
Okay, thanks, Mike. My question is a follow-up on the trash burning. Does anyone have any idea how many people would be laid off at the landfills?
Go ahead, Susan. Oh, okay, sorry. All right.
Thanks, Mike. I don't, but I just wanted to comment on Marcia's comment earlier. The company she was speaking to was a company that recycles waste. And so, of course, they're going to be opposed to waste burner because they're competitors. That's why they were, quote-unquote, shocked that we approved this project. And I would just stress again, our professional staff with hundreds of years combined experience advised us that, in fact, this could count towards renewable energy standard. And it's also base load power. And again, this has been done throughout Europe, throughout the United States. So let's experiment a little bit and let 1,000 flowers bloom and do it here.
Looks like Mr. Newman really wants to answer this. Well, okay, Marcia, give it to Marcia. It's her turn.
Well, in fact, Republic Industries does do some waste burning throughout the country and throughout the world. But one of the things that they do before they do the waste burning is sort it. They make sure that it's only biomass that is burned, and not the plastics, not the rubbers, not the toxic minerals. And in this case, while the folks are saying that certainly only a portion of it will count towards the renewable energy standard, it's 90% that they approved. And I don't know how you take unsorted trash and end up with 90% being renewable energy.
Sort of opportunity, but not only was it the worst decision I've seen in 3.5 years, this is what's really bad about it. The place where the landfill will go is somewhere on the west side of town near Surprise. The commission never, at any time, really had any hearings in Surprise. It started out just as a rulemaking to see whether we should include that kind of trash burning in a renewable energy rule, which was done in '96 with Republicans. It was talked about then and said no. The really bad part was we'll have other people want to come in and burn more garbage at these very bad standards, and it's not good for the air, and it actually takes money away from that renewable energy portfolio that I was talking to you about. That is how people put solar on their roofs. Now companies are utilizing it to reduce their energy costs. So it's taking money away. It's a really bad thing, and I hope it's overturned on appeal.
Sandra?
I'm going to ditto Marcia and Paul.
Okay, very good. Mr. Burns?
I thought I already did this one.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, that's fine. Susan?
Just directed to your question, Bill, the commission decisions do impact jobs. That's if you leave with nothing else today, decisions the commission make impact your pocketbook, and we impact jobs. And so think about that as you see the differences between the two sets of teams. I sense a mailer coming because this is kind of the first argument we had. I told us we're not going to be a hot, sexy, topical race. Maybe it might be. This is obviously a point of discussion. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take one more question. Jim, you have the microphone.
Two numbers from each of you, please. What's the efficiency of a solar array at the end of 10 years and the end of 20 years? And I only use one word for you to think about this. It's called jojoba. We were all screwed on jojoba. Your numbers, please. Two numbers.
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to pass on the numbers. I don't have the numbers, but the hobo, the hoba, oh, Hope, I believe, was a lot of beans or a lot of plants that were planted out in the desert in the hope of getting hand cream or something else out of that. I'm not sure what else was coming out of that. I guess fuel too, probably, but apparently didn't work out well.
I probably would speak to all my friends and colleagues. We don't have that answer off the top of our heads, and actually our engineering staff probably would have to do some digging as well.
Wait a minute, you didn't have a number. How did you guys ever come up with the numbers for the utilities?
Well, we did, but anyway, I'm not quite sure I understand your question, but a couple of options that you can consider when, let's say, putting solar on your roof. You can use a leasing company, and they'll come by and ensure that its efficiency is as high as possible. They'll come prepare it for you. Or you can buy it yourself and take the responsibility on your own hands for doing so to ensure that there's maximum output. And this goes into a question of phantom RECs, which gets a little technical that you and I could chat about afterwards, to make sure that they are producing the renewable energy that they're supposed to produce.
Well, I have some real life experience. I put solar on our roof about 7 years ago, and I love it as much today as I did the day I put it on. It's cut my utility bill substantially, it provides clean energy, and I wouldn't go back at all.
Technology 10 years ago and technology today is tremendous. So the capture of today is a lot better than it was 10 years ago.
Arizona is leading the country in helping to get technology on the ground. With regard to your specific question, the efficiency coefficients for the new technologies are off the roof. A lot of these new technologies come out of this world almost. We do a lot of research in an institute at Boulder, the Department of Energy, our government does, and they test these products. And we have a testing ground at Tucson Electric Power that the Commission helps foster to look at the best. We're looking for the best technology to implement. And I just wanted to close with this. Over at Hill Bend is a state-of-the-art plant that is unbelievable. It's like the building of the pyramids. It's going on right now in 115-degree heat, and it is a sight to behold. 2 or 3 of those plants in the state of Arizona could do a lot to provide energy for all our future needs if our energy efficiency rules are implemented, not waived on. Thank you.
Bob Burns, Susan Smith, you want to answer this one? Pass the microphone down anyway.
Bob and I are still looking for the photo. But I would just say there is a role for solar in Arizona, absolutely. I think everybody on this panel agrees with that. But it does not replace the other portfolios of fuels that need to be in the marketplace in Arizona. And I want all of us to think about that. We need to have diversity in energy sources, and we need not to have closed minds and suggest the federal government can tell us which kinds of fuel mixes should be in Arizona. That ought to be a decision left to those of us in Arizona who have to live and survive and pay for those costs.
Right, we're doing pretty well on time. I'll give you one more. Fred Brandt's going to ask it, and we'll limit you to 30 seconds on this one.
Okay, I like natural gas. TransCanada did a small plant down in Eloy. Are you supporting natural gas for these types of small plants so that when power is needed, they can generate it within hours rather than putting a solar system somewhere on the border of California, have to worry about transmission right away?
Your 30 seconds is up.
I think the answer is sure. Absolutely, natural gas has to be part of that portfolio in Arizona.
And I support natural gas use, yes, and it is one of the quickest startups for generation.
I do. It's cleaner than coal, and the country and the world is increasingly moving towards it.
And I agree with those comments as well.
Energy is clean, and it could also be an alternative to coal.
Natural gas is very important in the mix. I talk about solar a lot, but of course we'll have nuclear and coal in the mix. And natural gas, of course, with its current prices. We have to be careful about that price going up and some of the ways that we're mining that gas. That will be a subject of many years' research. So, yes, there's even technologies that combine natural gas and solar. So instead of having storage, which we haven't talked about a lot, when storage technology really comes to the fore, we'll be able to do natural gas, solar together and have storage.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you to Barbara Left for organizing